13.5, graphing linear equations in standard form. Standard form is another way that we can write a linear equation, and it's written like this: ax plus by equals c, where a and b are both not 0. So, for instance, 2x plus 4y equals 7. That's in standard form, as is x plus y equals 7. And in this case, both your a and your b are equal to what? 1. Okay, so that's standard form. And now we're going to graph in standard form. And it's slightly different than what you've done previously. So the first thing we want to do is, right up there, rewrite the equation into slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we want to rewrite this equation here to be in that form. That means our y needs to be on the left and everything else on the right. So here it is, negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 6. I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So then I get 3y equals 2x minus 6. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And so then I'm left with y equals 2/3 x minus 2. So here I have written my equation that started out in standard form into slope-intercept form. And then, so that's step 1. Now step 2 says use the y-intercept and slope to graph it. Okay, so looking at our slope-intercept form, we know that our slope is the coefficient in front of our x. That's 2/3. Remember, that's your change in y over your change in x. And our y-intercept, remember, that's what? That's the place where the line will cross the y-axis. So I know my y-intercept is at negative 2. I know my slope is 2/3, meaning rise over run, or change in y over change in x. That means I have to go up 1, 2, and over to the right 1, 2, 3. And I can plot another point again by going up 2 and over 3. And again, I can extend this down over this way as well. Okay, so once I've plotted my points using both my y-intercept and my slope, I can draw a nice line through all those points, and there I have now graphed in standard form. Okay, now it is time for you to write in your notes. There are just a bunch of fill in the blanks. Okay, we can also graph a linear equation in standard form using the intercept. So we don't necessarily have to transform it into the slope-intercept form. We can use it in the standard form and use the intercepts instead. So here we have an equation in standard form, and we're going to use our intercepts. Okay, so to find our x-intercept, that's here the first step, we have to set our y equal to 0. Okay, so we're going to substitute 0 in for y. That means this is going to become x plus 3 times 0 equals negative 3. That means x equals negative 3. So negative 3 on the x-axis is our x-intercept. That is where our line is going to cross the x-axis. Now to find our y-intercept, we do the opposite and we set our x equal to 0 and then solve for our y. So setting the x equal to 0 becomes 0 plus 3y equals negative 3. That means we can divide both sides by 3. and we're left with y equals a -1. So we know that our line is going to cross the y-axis at -1. Okay, so those are our two intercepts. Here's our x-intercept, here's our y-intercept. We found them, we plotted them, and now the next step is to draw a line through both. So I'll do my best to draw a line, and it should look something like that, right? So we know now we have a standard form, use our intercepts, and then we can graph it. All right, again, time for you to write in the last section of your notes where you are writing all the steps on how to graph standard form using intercepts. And now you have, I believe, 2 practice problems to do. Okay, for the first one, you're going to want to graph this one, putting it into the slope intercept form. Okay, right now it's in standard form. We're going to transform it into slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Then we're going to use our slope and our b to graph it, right? So I will run through this and then let you finish it. So let's first transform this, or rewrite it, or rearrange it so then it is in slope intercept form. That means everything on the right and just the y on the left. That means we want to add 2/3 x to both sides. So then our final slope intercept form is going to be 2/3 x. Okay, this is actually in slope intercept form, right? What is our slope? 2/3. What is our y-intercept? There is no value here, is there? So it's 0. Okay, so over here, you're going to find y equals 0, and then you're going to graph using that slope. Okay, for this next one, number 2, you want to use, you're going to graph this standard form linear equation using intercepts. That means you're going to find your x-intercept, and you're going to do that by what? Setting y equal to 0. You're going to find your y-intercept. That means setting your x equal to 0, right? You're going to plot those points, and then you're going to draw a line through them, and that's how you graph them. All right, that is it for 13.5.